So as I'm going into this, what I want you guys to notice is the fact that, yes, this is an NPC meta. This is heavily dominated by at least 6 NPCs on the map. What that means is, as the only AR on the map, you will see him play positions that allow him to play selfish to maximize his percentage in winning his own gunfights. Notice the position he plays. When you are playing on a meta that is SMG favored, you will get punished if you are out of position on any gunfight where it's a 1v1, as an example. Compared to the Dravek, you have more of an advantage on mid to long range compared to the Dravek, but with the NPC, your likelihood of winning gunfights up close honestly are reduced across the board because of how good the weapon is up close. So that's how you then start to adjust how you play as an assault rifle player, at least in a positional sense. When you're an AR player, it's a balance between being selfish versus selfless. Selfish meaning, how can I take percentage gunfights that are good for me? How can I set myself up for success to win my one, right? Then you have the other side of the balance where how can you help the team and almost throw away your life to be selfless and set your teammates up. This might mean you take lower percentage gunfights as a result, but you're in positions where you can be a lot more efficient with the trades and the kills. And that is the balancing game with the assault rifle, especially on a meta like this. Because of the NPC, you have to be a lot more selfish, at least in a positional sense, because you're going to lose or put yourself in positions to lose a lot more close range fights than when compared to the Dravik. You will also notice, because of the fact that OpTic do have 3 SMGs, you as the only AR on the map, you'll start to see a linear way that Dashy plays. Linear meaning that based on the situation he is in, he'll go to the same spots over and over and over because he has the privilege to do so. He has the ability, he's spoiled for choice on playing AR positions. When he's playing AR positions, this means he's giving himself a percentage increase on the fights that he's going to take. So you'll start to notice that trend with Dashy as he's playing because he is the only AR. But I want you also to notice sort of the balance he has with his pacing. He's not always playing selfish positions, nor is he always playing in a super selfless way that he would have done in a 2AR, 2 SMG Dravik sort of meta. So you'll start to see more of a traditional AR play from Dashy as he is the only AR on the map. This is almost like a feedback loop. When you are the only AR on the map, if you can put yourself in high percentage AR positions, not only is it selfish and increases your chance of winning your fights and getting kills, but because of the fact that you are able to open lanes and you have synergy with your SMGs, it also then eventually helps them. So it becomes a lot more important as an AR player. You understand what your position is based on the situation and what your job is based on the situation. And as we keep watching, I'll explain to you sort of some of the differences and similarities from both metas and how he plays as an AR that you guys can end up stealing. So in this situation, Joe Deceives has just killed Shotty. Kleenex, number 4, has just killed Huke. We know where he is. We know where he is. We do not know where he is. And we know Insight's going to spawn up. But in Dashy's position, he's not going to know exactly where. So we know in this situation, if you're Dashy, Joe has 2 options. He's either going to run on forward or he's going to play towards the hill. The reason why these are the 2 options is you have to picture, in this situation, what would you do? Now, these pro players, they play the game for thousands and thousands of hours, so they know instantly the options that Joe has, and you start to predict. This is called predictive modeling. You start to predict or you anticipate, meaning you guess what options Joe has done. Based on your guessing, based on your anticipation, based on your read, you can then position yourself in that way with the weapon you have, with the AR you have, to increase the percentage chance of you winning that gunfight. Now, he knows what his job is. The weapon that you have will tell you how to do your job and how to take Charles. So what angles you want to take, how you want to slide cancel, all of these different things. Your job is determined by your fundamentals, your win condition, and your game plan. So he knows what his job is in the flow, where he needs to go. He knows he needs to try and get statue control as kills teammates have been dying. His job is to try and get statue, check. So now what he needs to do is understand how does he want to get statue and position himself in a sense where he can get information early or put his weapon in the position of power to start getting kills. So look at what he starts to do here, chat. Is he ends up taking a bit of a route towards the right side of P4 in order to take that chal. Now, this is a very important distinction I need you guys to understand. It's a lot more important than you guys are thinking. So, minimap aside, yes, we know that Joe has ended up doing this. But let's say hypothetically in another world, confirmation bias aside, Joe ends up doing this. The reason why he doesn't then play this position and slide cancel to take the fight is because any fight that he's predicting himself to take, he's going to reduce the distance between him and his opponent. On a game where the NPC is dominant up close, that is not a favorable fight at all. You can tell if a fight is favorable or not is if you take 10 of them, how many do you think you're going to win? How many do you think you're going to lose? Now, in this situation, he's predicting, or one of the options Joe has is to push out towards P4. He can play this position 10 times. Against Joe, he might lose that 9 times out of 10. You might get the odd 1 or 2 that you end up winning. So when you're playing an SMG dominated meta, the positions that you choose in order to set up the fight is the most important thing. The biggest differences between you guys in ranked and pro players, it's very little to do with aim and movement. It's about setting up the fight and allowing the position that you select or how you take the fight to dictate the percentages. Where you are positioned on the map does a lot more work in the fight than you probably expect, even as an AR player. Even now with this SMG meta, where positioning on a map like this is super, super important. One thing that you'll see with Dashy and pro players is they're creatures of habit. They want to do the same thing over and over and over again. If I know where you're coming from, because the game is very linear, there's not that much that changes, I can position myself in a sense to take that same fight over and over and over again, because I know there's consistency in the way that fight's taken. So right here, you'll see him play the right side of P4, and he does this quite nearly every single time he's trying to refill statue in order to set himself up and give himself distance. Not only is he trying to give himself distance, right here he gives himself a head glitch, and he's given himself the ability to get information early, and most importantly guys, first bullet advantage. The key in pro COD is when you choose the right positions, when you choose how you want to take a fight, your first bullet advantage dictates mainly who's going to win. The pro player who gets his first shot, assuming he's playing aggressive, his camera, he doesn't miss, all of these different techniques that you can utilize, allows you to get first bullet advantage. When you do get first bullet advantage, you have the health advantage, and you can use your health to then dictate the fight. You can then predict what the enemies are going to do. So right here, let's see how he plays it. You're watching the pros lift all the trophies. You dream about seeing your name in the lights. You wish you could be good enough to make content. You wish you could be good enough to play like the players you are watching in this video. But nothing's changing. Again, you're stuck. You're making the same mistakes, the same frustrations, the same gunfights you feel like you should be winning, the same ceiling. You look around and the players who just look like they come out of nowhere, players who used to be below you, players that are younger than you, getting better than you, climbing past you. They're the ones who get the opportunities, and you're sat there and you don't know why. My name is D-Real. I am the 2023 Call of Duty World Champion. 15 years in esports, 7 years at the top level, 5 major titles, Esports Coach of the Year nomination in 2023. I have coached CDL champions like Hydra, like Skies, like Crim6, like Sib. I've even coached Myth. He has 11 million followers. I know exactly what separates you from them. Here's what most of you guys don't realize. You're not stuck because you don't grind enough. A lot of you guys put enough hours in. But guess what? You are stuck because you don't know what you don't know. You're grinding without a system. Pro players, they can shoot, they can move. But guess what they have? They have better systems than you. How they think, how they decide, how they read the game, how they recover. That's the gap. And that's exactly what I rebuild in 8 hours with you. Now, you stop being a player that people don't want to team with. That player that people want to team with. The player that casters mention. I am opening up 2 slots for July for my Pro World Championship coaching. Duos, trios, full squads. 8 hours of full coaching, the same system that I built CDL champions on. You name it, how you look at the game, what you think about the game, decision making, breakdowns, mechanics, everything rebuilt from the ground up for your actual team. You do not have to figure any of this out yourself. I will do the analysis, I build you up, I do all the work. You show up, apply the system, and watch you and your teammates transform. Here's my guarantee. You do the 8 hours, you apply it for 30 days, and you will, and I guarantee it, every single person has, you will rank up. And I will keep coaching you for free if you don't. Players who have done my coaching, they have gone on to play for top challenger teams. Some of them are in the Pro League. One player went from platinum to top 250 in 16 hours. That is not a coincidence. That is a system with deliberate, purposeful practice. You and your teammates get the same system. 2 slots, July, duos, trios, quads. Get that discount, limited because I put time into you. Ends up going to the right side of P4, so ignore the minimap in this case. The minimap is busted, but look at him playing the right side of P4. He's playing a head glitch. He's taking a wide angle. The reason why he's taking a wide angle is because he has the weapon in the position of power. He's playing for information and he's playing for kills, and he ends up catching Joe here. Now, this is where I need you guys to start developing rules, right? Pro players are just rules. Pro players are so good at what they do is because they have a collection of a playbook of, if this happens, I'm going to do this. So in this case, if X happens, I'm going to do Y. Right here, you have what you call your trigger event. Your trigger event is something on the game that allows you to make a decision fast. So right here, they get 3 down. They get 3 kills, right? Ignore number 4 for a second, but they had essentially 3 kills. Pro COD is a game about getting to the next best position with the weapon you have faster than your opponents. This is Pro COD in a nutshell, guys. So right here, Dashy will know where they're spawning. Dashy will have a good idea of how long they will take to take a particular route relative to his position. He will know the timings. He knows when people are spawning. This is wave management. He has all of these things running in his head. Ultimately, he's predicting what the enemies can do, and he's positioned himself to get that information and take high percentage gunfights. So right here, biggest advice for you guys in ranked is figure out what your step 1 is, then figure out what your step 2 is, and then figure out any other steps after that. So your step 2 could be a situation where you're maximizing an advantageous position, meaning I've got 3 kills. Where do I think they're coming from? Where do I need to go in order to get the first kill of the next wave, or give myself a high percentage chance of winning the fight? If you position yourself on a power position and you know where enemies are coming from and you know the timings, then you can do what's called playing a guarantee. Playing a guarantee is playing a position to get first bullet advantage, to play a power position, to play a high percentage gunfight position in order to get an easy kill. This is what we mean by playing a guarantee. Anyone could do that, playing a guarantee. So as an AR player, it's very important to balance the pacing and understand what your next best position is in order to get the next kill of the next wave, while also being useful for the entirety of your team. Look at him here, takes that fight, boom. Perfect. Same situation again here now, guys. 23 seconds left. Your win condition is to soak. Now, this is a situation where you balance being selfish, balance being selfless. So what's his job in the moment, guys? Well, he's the first guy in the flow, so he can bump out. Flow meaning in what order do we want to pick up lanes based on what number in this chain we are. So in this conveyor belt system, he's the first guy. He knows what his job is. Once he knows his job, he knows where they're spawning. He knows the timings. And then, guys, he knows the next best position to play with the weapon he has in order to get the first kill of the next wave. This is where I know Octane has mentioned this a couple of times, and this was a big thing on previous games, but the AR role should always be a game within the game. It's about picking the next best position to not only be useful for the kills that you make, but useful for your entire team. Anyone can sit here at the back of the map, play a head glitch and make kills and do nothing. But where the really skillful assault rifle players, like your Ernies, for example, and your Ghosties, where they really excel as AR players is the balance of pacing. They know how to position themselves to get their kills, but they also know how to position themselves in order to make the use of advantages that they have for the entire team. So right here, this is him being selfless. He knows what his job is. He's trusting the fundamentals and the game plan. Now he's positioned himself in a way where he'll get the first kill of the next wave, maximizing the chance of him winning a fight, crafting distance in what he needs to hold, understands the timings, and then eventually can help him win his one. So let's see how he does it here. Pushes out. He's towards the back of here. This is again broken. He's towards the back. Look, he's towards the back here. Ends up getting one, ends up getting traded, but this is very good information because now we know specifically where he is and we have the timings. We know specifically where he is and we have the timings. So again, balancing as an AR player, how do you be selfish for yourself versus how do you be selfless and really maximize your advantage here? You guys could do that in rank too. Right. Let's see how Dashy ends up playing the situation again. What I want you guys to make a note of is with this P2, remember, I said pro players are creatures of habit. They want to take the same positions as many times as they can because it gives them a high percentage chance of winning their individual one or playing their life. This is what scripting is. This is what having a playbook is. Players like Dashy, all these pro players will have some form of a playbook that they want to repeat over and over and over, because if you do something that's a high percentage scenario or situation, you want to repeat it. You want to be able to do it every single time. Now with this P2, on all the P2s that you'll see, is because he is the only AR on the map, he has the ability to choose any AR position he wants to be selfish. In this case, if he's being selfish, he helps his teammates by being selfless, by opening up the map for them. For this P2, he will always play this situation. When you play the same situation 1,000 times and you get good and understand what position you want to play based on where the pressure is coming from or where the information is coming from, you can then tweak how you want to challenge. You can then tweak how you want to fight. And Dashy tries to fight the same way every single time. And it's really no wonder he has a lot of success on this map. He's got it drilled down to a T. So let's see. Goes to P2. He plays that head glitch. He's playing a high percentage position with his weapon, ends up getting one, ends up getting two because he's caught someone sprinting, and that's the beautiful thing about understanding the best position you can play with the weapon that you have based on where enemies are coming from. So look at how he plays it here. Comes up, plays a power position, and the reason why for you AR players that really annoy me in ranked who are struggling with this NPC meta is you guys have to be a lot more consistent in choosing the positions that you play. Because it doesn't matter if two's here, or here, or here, or here, or here, or here. If you as an AR player know which next position you want to play based on where you think or where you anticipate the pressure to come from, you choose the next best position, you are ready for all of these fights. It becomes a really step-by-step process. It becomes a really wave-by-wave process. And one of the biggest problems that you guys in ranked as AR players have is you don't respect the wave-by-wave. You don't respect the step-by-step. Meaning you guys will come off spawn, run it down, put yourself in positions to take SMG fights or lose your first bullet advantage, or get caught sprinting, and then guess what? You're now taking low percentage fights, and then no wonder you're losing as an AR player. But look at what Dashy is doing. He picks the next best position based on where he anticipates or predicts enemies are going to come from, based on what's already happened, based on your kill feed, and based on how many people they're looking for, and he's thinking one step ahead. So that's when you choose the next best position, and that's how you make use of Kips. Kips is a damn good player, but he's made him look absolutely redundant because of the fact that he's catching him sprint. And that's what you need to do as an AR player. And when you are playing a map where you are the only AR on the map, you have the you can choose any position that you want to be selfish, to then be selfless. So let's see how he plays here. Now look at him. Look at how he ends up playing it, right? So his job here is to get space. Very good, right? He's trying to push up to get space. But now he realizes he doesn't have the timing to get into P1. When he doesn't get into P1 and he realizes he doesn't have the timing, I really need you guys to understand, and Ernie does it, and Mercules has done it, and Cell does it, and Cell is one of the best ARs as well. Look at what he does. So, ends up trying to push through, gets him weak, right? Realizes that there's potentially someone else there. He doesn't know he's here. He's only guessing that someone is there. Look at how he backs off here. Right? He'll shoot him. He gets him weak. He's one shot. He's weak. He realizes, okay, I'm probably going to lose this against an SMG. So what does he do? He gives himself distance and a chance to see him first, get the first bullet advantage, and play the fight. So look at what he does here. Bloody hell. Quick one. Just stay with me for 60 seconds. I'm going to tell you something about your own aim that is going to change the way that you shoot forever. Your aim is bad. I'm not trying to insult you. It is the truth. It's not your settings. It's not your controllers. It's not your internet. It's not your dead zone. You've changed your sensitivity about 50 times in the past 5 years. It's never going to fix it, because the problem is not in your hands. It's in your eyes. When you say you need to train your aim, what are you actually training? Because most players, for you guys that are watching, you've never really thought about it. You load in, bot lobby, you just shoot. Aiming is not one skill. It is 4 completely different skills. Flicking, tracking, micro correction, target switching. Each one uses a different part of your brain. Each one needs a specific drill. Each one needs to be trained properly. What you are doing is the equivalent of going to the gym and you're just lifting random things. My pro players, my CDL champions have trained the same way as athletes that train their sport. One skill, one drill, one sequence at a time. That's why their aim is consistent and yours isn't. They're not more talented than you. They're more structured than you. So I give you that structure. 4 skills in the right order, the right amount. This is the whole point of my aim and moving masterclass for you to download. Inside, you'll get an aiming and movement video, a neuroscience of aiming guide, 30-day training calendar, champions daily practice planner, optimal CDL settings cheat sheet, and a before and after self-assessment. You download it once, lifetime access. Do this 20 minutes a day for 30 days. I will guarantee your aim will improve. Not just your aim, but how you aim and how you look at aiming. Check out dreal.co.uk. Look at this. Ends up coming backwards. Ends up going backwards. Slides backwards as he's pre-aiming this the entire time, expecting him to run at him, or just in the possibility of him running at him. And he gives himself distance and he repositions to give himself the best chance against an NPC, mid to long range, to try and kill him. We're moving with this NPC meta. We're truly seeing who the best AR players are. And the ARs who are good in a positional sense, like a Scrap, are the ones who are gonna thrive in a meta like this. Especially if you're playing maps where you only have one AR and you have to be consistent in playing AR positions. And look how he crafts distance in the gunfights that he takes. And now look at him, 30 seconds left. When he knows where you are, his responsibility to pick up P1 again, he's not taking timings he doesn't have. This isn't the Dravek meta when you have basically 4 weapons that do the same thing. When you have more of a responsibility or weapon balancing, ARs doing AR things, SMGs doing SMG things, you need to then respect that. If this was the Dravek meta, I have seen it many times, he would bang it out and play to trade, right? But right now, as the only AR on the team, he's being a little bit more selfish, playing high position gunfights, pre-aiming where he thinks you're coming from. So every time he's crafting an angle for distance, he's giving himself the advantage. So right here, we don't have to trade. Right here, look, he's on top of the box. He's on top of the box, playing a power position. With the weapon he has the timing, he has the pre-aim advantage, and he now has the first bullet advantage. Because he knows you're going to be coming out. giving himself the highest chance of winning that gunfight. And you see it here. He's wide swinging, taking that fight, ends up killing Kips. Beautiful stuff. And he still stays in that position. He ends up dying to Joe, well, from the side. He ends up dying from Joe from the side, but he would have ended up killing Kleenex as well, because he's really playing that sentry turret, lock down a lane, high, long distance, crafting an angle sort of playstyle. Right, let's see how he plays it here. Same again as an assault rifle player. Now, Hugh has pulled out an AR because they've run in 2 on this P3. But look at the positions Dashy is playing. Again, these pro players, pattern recognition, creatures of habit, they want to do the same things as much as they can. When you go to the same positions and you take the fights, you can then work on how you want to take the fights. And look at the way Dashy takes the fight here. He's trying to create distance between him and where the opponents are. And now, because he's playing the same position, look at the way he ends up challenging this. Look at how he rips him here, right? Good nade. Watch how, I think it's this one, how he rips him. Look at that. When you have consistency in the positions that you play, when you understand what the next best position is based on the weapon that you have, you can then work on stuff like this. You can then take this gunfight 1,000,000 times and really, really, really perfect how you want to take it. Because he used to do, him and Skies used to do this on Vault P3, where they would sit in a private game and they would take the street chals over and over and over because they were practicing how to slide cancel and take that fight. Sib used to do the same thing on previous cards. As an AR player, when you have consistency in the positions you play and you get better at choosing the next best position, you can then work on how you want to actually take the fight. Look at the way he ends up slide canceling. He does this quite a bit. Right? We know in this moment what the next best spot is, and based on that, we know where Toronto are going to be. We don't know exactly where all of them are, but we know roughly what positions they're going to be, because they're called what they call common positions, hotspots, power positions, whatever word you want to use. When you have in your head predictive modeling, you're predicting where people are going to be. You can then clear and child things and assume in a certain way. And he does this quite a bit. So let's watch how Dashy does this. Look at the way he slide cancels. He's done this quite a bit, where he kind of like overextends the slide cancel in a sense and uses this. He plays almost like distance away from the heady to try and give himself the best chance of killing the guy, because if you're this guy, you can only see his head or barely see his head. This isn't really the best example I can show. There's an example on P2 that you guys as ARs can steal. Rather than playing tight to a head glitch, give yourself a bit of distance where you still use the head glitch to camera and see people first and peek as advantage, but you reduce the amount that they can see of you and then eventually kill you. Ends up doing that, ends up strafing, but look again. Really, really good plays. Ends up getting the second, ends up getting the third. Now, this is now how he's balancing being selfish versus selfless. He's been selfish to set up a high percentage fight for him. Or, well, in this case, it was low, but he still took the fight anyway. So he's trying to set up as many good percentage fights as he can. And then once he has numbers, that's his trigger. He ends up then playing aggressive. So then that's how, as an AR, this is the perfect definition of balancing the game within the game. He plays a position to try and get himself a 1 with the highest percentage position that he can for either first bullet advantage or to camera someone or just to be a hard kill on a head glitch. Then once you have numbers, he's giving it up, predicting the next position, the next spot, and he's taking fights in that way. And then that's how he gets 3 and basically breaks P3 on his own. There's a really good job here. Very, very good job. Right, 17 seconds left. Let's see what he does here. Gets towards a teammate. Wonderful job here. And again, playing AR spots, AR positions, based on where I think you are going to be. The biggest thing that I can see with this NPC meta is it's more of a traditional AR. And what I mean traditional in the sense of not like a stationary AR or whatever, but in the sense that people are going to use their pistols a lot more to balance being selfish versus selfless. As you see here, players weren't really using their pistols a lot in the Dravak meta, what I noticed, but I'm telling you, the best AR players that you'll see, your Ernies, your Dantes, your Dashies, they will know how to balance their pace and use their pistol as though it's an SMG shotgun. And instead of having an M15 in a SMG position, they'll have a pistol in an SMG position. And that's how you're going to have a good balance of being selfish and selfless. But even then, look at it right here. And now look at this. Beautiful. Gets one. Gets two. Gets a pistol. Rips the guy with the pistol. And now he still has his pistol out, taking Charles here instead of his M15. Beautiful stuff here. And somehow he's on P1 and he rips him too, right? But look at what he does here. So he's the second guy in time. He ends up playing time, right? I think he ends up going backwards. He's going to bump 7 to time. This is now your step 2. This is what the best AR players will do, is they know exactly for their step 2, where are you spawning? I'm predicting what you're going to do. I'm predicting what you're going to do, and we either confirm it or we predict again. That's the feedback loop. And then you position yourself in a way to get the next kill. Watch what Dashy does here, because you guys will agree he's in P1. He's going to get naded. He's going to get stunned. He's going to take SMG fights. When he takes SMG fights, he's just going to be a sitting duck, so his life is like useless. As an AR player, you're going to hate me saying this again, you are trying to balance selfish versus selfless. So right here, you pick the next best position to help you get kills, to either get crossfires, team shots, wherever it may be. Look at the way he plays it here. Nades, gets off the hill. Right? Trying to read the pressure. Again, distance between him and where he thinks people are going to be. Once 7 calls, yo, there's people on me, nading me. Plays a position that allows him to get distance between him and where the enemies are going to be. Yes, he could play in P1, but guess what? Joe is killing you 9 times out of 10. If a nade doesn't. Even if a nade doesn't, right? So right here, he's got off in order to not get naded, but most importantly, give himself distance by letting them overextend towards him and working with number 7. So then this is how you make your AR useful, giving yourself distance in the fight, and then be useful with the team. So look at this right here. This is unreal. Look at that. What's he meant to do? And then, like I said, he pulls out his pistol whenever he needs to play aggressive. Now, if he's going to team shot with Mercules and he's going to fly at the boy, he has a pistol to do it rather than an M15. Look at him with his pistol. Ends up dying, but you guys are starting to see the pattern. That's how he's 20 and 10, because it's the positioning that allows him to put his weapon in the position of power. Same again. Look at how he does it. Comes off spawn. His spawn tells you something where the pressure is going to be. Comes off, understands, right, where do I need to fill? When he predicts where enemies are going to be, he's thinking, how do I craft an angle to give me first bullet advantage, to wide swing, to give me distance in order to take an AR fight. Look at him. AR is a game within the game. It's a mini game. You're picking the next best position based on where you think people are going to be. Look at the way he was taking the fight, because he got 2 free kills against SMGs, because he's continuously crafting mid-range to long-range fights, and he's playing with confidence to do so. Right, let's see what he does here. Now, on this P2, make a note of how he plays it. He's going to do the same thing every time. He clears the left the same way by slide cancelling here. Then he will slide cancel to then clear front, and he does this nearly every single time. Remember, as an AR player, your positioning allows you to take high percentage fights, gunfights, just because of the nature of the position. You can wide swing and take fights based on the weapon you have. Now look at the way he ends up taking this fight. This is what I mean. This little slide cancel here, he does this every time on every single head glitch. Is when he has distance between the head glitch he's trying to slide cancel camera. On this guy's screen, assuming this guy's like here, he's only going to see like a little speck. He's not going to be able to see him. He is still in a position where he could slide cancel. He has distance between him and where the next fight is going to be. He then can see them first. He then gets the first bullet advantage, and he's basically like a ghost on their screen. And he does this consistently because, again, I'm going to sound like a broken record. Pro players are creatures of habit. When you find something that works, you pick the next best spot, you do it over and over and over again. That's how you get easy kills. And now look at the way he ends up slide cancelling. Obviously now we're worried about number 2. But he goes back and he does the same thing. Ends up dying, but he'll do it again. And he'll do it again. And he'll do it again. And next time, he'll get multiple kills. Right, clearing it the same way. Right, trying to create distance between where he thinks they're going to be. Does it the same way again. Oh! Damn! Right, 3 down. He's going to push out, play for the last guy. He's going to do the same thing again. He's going to try and slide. Gets a dead slide here. Or he tries to snake it, either or. But look at him trying to do the same position again and again and again. And because you are the only AR on the map, you have the ability to choose what position you want to play. And he's just there, choosing the next best position to take fights, challenging the same way. The more mid-range fights you try and take, the more you understand timings of an enemy's push, the more you can peek out at the right time, the more you can camera people and use the advanced movement to set up the fight, the more the position is going to give you the kills. It takes a bit of confidence and a bit of repetition and a bit of practice to be able to work that out. He did the same thing again. He's got like 4 kills from that one spot. He's going to spawn up again, and guess what? He's going to do it again. Where's he gone? Back to the left side of P2, right? Doing it again. You want to watch me do it again? I'm going to do it again. But that's the thing with an AR player, is once you get good at choosing what position you want to play based on the information or based on the pressure, then you have to balance getting dopamine by just getting kills, seeing plus 100 on your screen, versus being selfish and learning when to die. Same again, look at how he takes the tunnel Charles. He's trying to give distance between him and where he thinks an enemy is going to be, right? Wherever, my entire point of this video, positional wise, is as you're predicting where enemies are going to be, as you're predicting the times, the timings, what positions they're going to play, where they're going to come from, and where you need to go, you craft the best angle you can to take mid-range fights against these NPC players. Does the same again, 27 and 16. Right, let's see what he can do here. Spawns up. Let's see what his job is. He's going to follow his teammates. Understand what your job in the moment is based on the information you have, your awareness, your spawns, your teams, your enemies, and then how you do your job. Last guy in the flow, you just ape him down. They're going to just ape him. Look at him just aping. So this right here, distance doesn't matter. Why? Because your job, your fundamentals, trading and numbers is more important. Remember, this is the balance. This is the scale. So now we need to be more selfish and less selfless. Now, guess what you do? You think ahead. You think ahead. Where they spawn in? What lanes do you need to hold? And guess what, guys? What's the next best position you guys have to play based on where the pressure is coming from and based on info? You choose that. I'm going to tell you, he's going to child the exact same way that we have seen in previous P2s. Same again. The position got 2 kills. The position is how you get your kills. Does it again. He's going to spawn up. Is he going to do it again? Nope. So he's going to hold mid now. Keep the game controlled. Does what he needs to do. Oh, look. He's going back to P2. But again, the distance. Look at the distance he has. First bullet advantage. Playing the same position again and again. This is more of a traditional AR in a sense where you play the same positions over and over. You just choose the next best position based on what is happening on the game. It's as simple as that. Oh, are you still hard stuck? You've been grinding, ranked, you're still platinum, you're still diamond, you're still crimson. You're bad at the game. You're bad because you've never been taught how the top 0.1% of players actually think. Players like you spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours practicing the wrong things. You build bad habits. And you know what the worst part is? You don't even know what that is. You don't know what you don't know. So nothing improves no matter how many games you put in, no matter how many YouTubers you watch. I'm D-Real. I'm the 2023 World Champion. I have distilled 15 years of competitive experience and knowledge into a course that gives you the exact same system, the mindset and the mechanics that built world champions. Learning from players like Crimsix, Hydra, Sib, Neptune. Not tips, not tricks. You're going to get pro level strategy, movement, aim drills, positioning, and a mindset with all of these. all instantly downloadable for you. You stop losing gunfights you know you should win. You start climbing the ladders. Join the hundreds of people who have already downloaded this course and have already seen instant improvements. Go to dreal.co.uk, click this here, or go to the courses, download tonight, play differently tomorrow. This is where your improvement actually starts. You'll spend more money on a controller or a gaming chair, but you won't spend any money to help you learn instantly. You